You see, once you get into that music
Yeah.
and you fall into the character, then all of a sudden you kind of feel the groove and the beat, and all of a sudden you have this inspiration to do good. The music alone makes you try to do the best you can.
I thought Jafar was going to sing a little bit, but it looks like it's going to be all dubbed.
Oh, original.
Yeah.
So you can't pull us off if you wasn't Michael. But you can pull us off with the music, the sound, the history, the entertainment, and also you have to be able to back yourself up and do it the right way.
All right, so the Michael Jackson biopic is about to come out in a few weeks. We're in the final stretch, you guys. Today, I'm going to be updating you guys on all the stuff you need to know about this upcoming Michael Jackson movie, how to get tickets, all the new news, and some of the new promotional material that's been out. We're going to review everything. But I could not do this episode alone. You guys, I'm super excited because this is a very special guest. He came all the way to be here in studio today, all the way to Los Angeles, straight from New York City. He's the reason why I am a Michael Jackson fan today. And I am super excited to welcome and invite my special guest to the studio today, my dad. Welcome.
Welcome. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
In person. We've had you on videos before.
Right.
But this is the first time you're here in person in the studio.
Exactly.
So
I'm very happy to be here. Long trip, but worth it.
yes.
Worth it.
And I'm so excited, you guys, to talk today about the biopic, but also about some of the actual moments that they're going to be showing in the biopic, right? With you, because you lived through all these moments. Just to let everybody know, we are going to be talking about the Victory Tour today, the Bad Tour, Motown 25, because these are some of the main themes that we've seen in the biopic trailers, teasers that have come out so far. Dad, have you seen some of the commercials?
Yes.
The biopic?
Yeah. It looks good. It looks good. It looks like it's going to be special. And it looks as though Jermaine Jackson's son is playing the part of Michael.
Yes, Jafar Jackson.
That's a tough role to fill, tough shoes to fill. But it looks good. And like you said, I could kind of see some of the things that went on in the history of the Jacksons. So hopefully, like you said, this would be a really exciting moment for this movie. It's coming out.
Yes. April 24th, you guys. That's when it's coming out in the United States. And I'm going to go through some things. First, we're going to go through some things about the biopic, like everything that has come out since the last time you see me on camera, because you guys know I haven't been on camera for quite a while live here, but I'm excited to be back. So let's get right into it. So the first biggest new update is that the official soundtrack has been confirmed. It's dropping actually the same day as the film, which is April 24th. And Solomon, if you could bring up that very first picture, we'll show everybody the track list here. So as you guys see, this is an official announcement from the Michael Movie and Lionsgate social media accounts. A little surprising, I think, for a lot of us big fans. We're hoping for like some remixes or some remixes or like special tracks.
What's not on that list that you would want to be on there?
I want like some special mixes, like medleys or something.
Okay.
Or like some acapellas or something. You know what? I just think about like the Elvis movie, for example. They had like acapellas. They had the actor playing Elvis singing some of the songs. I thought Jafar was going to sing a little bit, but it looks like it's going to be all dubbed.
Oh, original?
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, and then also the fact that this is covering, you'll see, from the Jackson 5 to the bad era, just that bad. Like, I want to hear Smooth Criminal. I want to hear Man in the Mirror. That's like a main Michael Jackson song.
Did they say this was a like all-inclusive, like, or featuring these songs maybe more?
Well, so supposedly we heard in the very beginning they're going to have 30 Michael Jackson or Jackson songs in the movie. This is 13 tracks that they say are going to be the main tracks that are, they're calling it a companion album. So I'm sure they're going to have more songs, but I was hoping for something more comprehensive. But we'll see. We'll see. So this is what's coming out, and it's going to be available on CD, cassette, as well as vinyl. So go and check that out, especially you guys who like to collect physical media. That should be exciting. Only 13 tracks, but it's okay because, again, we have that strong talk that we've heard that this is only going to cover up to the bad era, the bad tour, really. So now, next, if we go to our next photo, we can talk about the fact that early access tickets have dropped. Now, I wish that we knew ahead of time so we could have planned this out. But hey, what is Michael Jackson without like that Michael mania hysteria? Got to get everybody moving without any type of warning. So actually, you guys, there are tickets that are on sale for 2 days ahead of the drop. April 22nd, Dad, people can see the movie 2 nights before it actually drops.
Come out, right? Okay.
So, of course, I couldn't not get tickets. So I do have tickets for that night.
Right.
Are you surprised?
No. I may get tickets myself.
Right.
It's early access.
Why not, right?
Exactly. Sounds good.
Especially because it's going to be an IMAX as well. So that'll be fun. And then now I want to get into the trailers and some of the videos that have dropped where we actually get to see Jafar.
Right.
For the longest, we didn't get to hear from him.
Maybe they kept it that way on purpose for the suspense.
Yes.
Think about it.
Probably.
You know, the suspense, the surprise, the hype. You don't want to see too much before you actually go see the movie.
Yes.
I'm curious before we get into this next. And I always want to ask you, do you know if there was anyone else considered to play Michael Jackson before they picked Jafar?
Honestly, I don't think so. They have not said, but supposedly they were just like, they couldn't figure out who could play him. And then I guess somehow Jafar got mentioned and they were like, all right, let's go with him.
Okay.
But they haven't mentioned anybody. That's a good question.
That's the question I asked you too, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, I said the same thing was somebody else thought about. But again, I think they just want to keep it within the family and maybe they have a close relationship to certain things that the average person won't know about. Maybe they want that feel from the family to be on screen. Opposed to anybody else that's just neutral and just going to emulate Michael, but this is like a family thing, I feel.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure Jermaine had his extra 2 cents to add to this.
Right.
Well, and the fact that they're physically similar too. I mean, you know, that's good luck too.
Yeah, family, yep.
And he did spend time, you know, even though Jafar's younger, he did know Michael. Like Michael was his uncle and he spent time with him as a kid. So there's got to be a lot of things that he's going to bring to the role that we wouldn't even know about because he's bringing the real Michael Jackson to it.
That's what I'm saying. I feel a family feeling, a family vibe. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
That's what they call themselves trying to do, which makes a little sense because if the family is involved and he's actually playing the lead role, you know, I think he can kind of feel what he felt when he was coming up. Right. From his uncle.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it works.
Yes. I think we all have high hopes. We're rooting for you, Jafar. And let's get into the trailer because this is a trailer that they dropped on Instagram like last week. So let's watch this and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Okay.
Biggest selling record of all time. I know I am someone. A poor kid from Gary. Who would have thought?
Yes, I believe in me, so you believe in you. Who's loving you?
Perfect pitch. I've never heard a voice quite like yours.
Sing it to the world.
I love my family. I just want to do my own thing.
You let your light shine.
Where you want to go?
You'll see.
It's too hard to get over. It's too low to get under. You're stuck in the middle, and the pain is thunder.
What did I tell you? I want the largest concert tour there ever was. Thousands and thousands of people all over the world.
That's ambitious.
You see it, you can do it.
Look kind of exciting. Look kind of exciting. Look kind of exciting. I believe that they have enough story to tell in this video, in this movie of Michael to be able to make people get excited.
Yes.
And I'm surprised. It look like it's a whole lot of background it took to make this work.
Right.
A lot of background. I could see it all in the background. Not just Jaffa, but just the whole stage, the atmosphere, the people, the crowd.
They like recreated everything.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I think they're trying to make this very like unique and or very accurate is what I mean to say. Like they want it to be really taking you back to that moment in time. Even the outfits look really good. Like shout out to the wardrobe department.
Yeah, I was looking at him. I was looking at how he was dancing on the stage, and I'm seeing how he do his footwork and his handwork.
Yes.
I even looking at his neck work. I'm saying
Yes.
myself, like, he made sure that he had that same type of what you call it, neck vibe going on, like Michael,
Right.
and hand and feet.
That's why they had to make it so accurate, because they know they're being judged from all these different age groups and people who knew him at all levels. And, you know, they want that authenticity to be there.
Yes. And one thing that I think that's really cool about it, like you said, Solomon, is just the fact that we're, you know, yes, Michael Jackson passed away over 15 years ago, right? But you still have people that remember him, but you also have the people that will come with their kids that were not really around for his lifetime. So you have this appealing to a lot of different people. And I think they're going to do a great job at capturing the magic and the excitement, like you said.
And the experience. I think that, like you said, for those who haven't seen Michael, if you look at the story, if they say it the right way or show it the right way, they can put the pieces together from before and now.
Right.
Now. And that's a long journey for Michael.
And I just want to give a shout out to, for those of you who don't know, someone who is in the studio was a part of that journey. And he sang with Michael Jackson on Can You Feel It? Shout out to producer Solomon.
Oh. You're going to make me have to use my camera over here.
Yeah, we got to give you a shout out whenever we talk about this because it's true.
There I am.
There you go.
Hi.
Now that's special. That's special. That's real time.
Yeah.
History.
Right. Solomon was featured as a part of the choir on Can You Feel It?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, are you excited about the movie knowing that you were a part of this story?
Well,
come on, you are a part of the story.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to go see it, you know, and I'll probably go. I got to go to the IPIC in Pasadena, you know, where you got the luxury things. Because you got to give it its flowers, you know what I mean? And just see it in a special way. So yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay, perfect. And actually growing up, fun fact, you guys, like, seriously, one of my dad's favorite songs you always said has been Can You Feel It?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Matter of fact, the reason I love Can You Feel It, because when we went to see the Triumph concert,
yes, Triumph.
That's when I first saw Can You Feel It? And now to know Solomon was in it, that puts me into another level of thinking about that video. Because the first time we seen a video, if I'm thinking correctly, they said that was the first video that they showed in a concert with the actual band members doing a video that Michael Jackson created, Can You Feel It? And I'll never forget, it was one of the screens that you look up and you felt the sparkle coming down, and I think it was Maxwell Garden.
Yes.
And I remember Michael Jackson.
Because he put his hand out, right?
And they had the glittering coming down in the audience.
Yeah.
It was special. It was special. And that song, I'll be honest with you, that song is mainly a special beat that only could come from somebody that have that type of history and vibe in their body and their music and soul. Because I don't think nobody else could pull that Can You Feel It off.
I don't think so either. But we have seen, you mentioned this, you told this to me a couple of days ago. A new edition on their concert comes out to Can You Feel It, right?
Yes, yes.
On their current tour.
New edition, I saw the tour that they had that's out with all the members, and they come out of the stage, they rise up from the top, and in the background the music is dun 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 dun, dun and that's Michael Jackson. Yeah. But they didn't do the moves, because remember something, that beat is for the Jacksons. But they used that beat in the background to pay homage to Michael Jackson, which is lovely, because the reality is that everybody knew that beat.
Right.
That's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And that's only made for the Jacksons.
Yeah. And like you said, like a lot of entertainers recognize that, because I remember even going back to Usher's Super Bowl performance when he was on the skates.
Right.
He played a little bit of and it was that Can You Feel It, like 10 seconds.
It's something like you said, you know, we got to recognize that every time, whatever he picked music-wise and song-wise, it fit his image, his history, his experience, and his life, because everybody can't pull that music off and attach it to their body's song and voice.
Right.
That's the difference. You had to be special.
You know, one thing I noticed during that, watching the preview, is we talk about Jafar playing Michael, but there's also a young Michael in there.
Yes.
And so I just looked it up, and it's being played by Giuliano Cruvaldi.
Thank you for mentioning.
And he's, I guess he's a social media performer.
Interesting.
So he's going to play young Michael.
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I'm not too familiar with him. So I'm excited to see how that's going to play out too. Because, yeah, he was a small part of the the trailer, but I'm assuming it's going to be a really big role when we actually watch the movie, right?
Yeah, I guess in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But that's another hard role to fill, especially when you start talking about young Michael.
Right.
It's amazing. Young Michael, old Michael, middle Michael.
Yeah.
Those are some strong shoes to fill. And I don't know if you notice it, but you always see the young kids trying to fill that song for Michael Jackson.
Who's Loving You, right?
Loving
They try
You.
to sing
Everybody try to emulate that. That's a hard song to emulate, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to do that, but I guess, again, this is spanning over, 40, 50 years of music, and he's been what you call the top for every stage. A young child, a teenager, an adult. So he's been really on top for a long time, and he's definitely considered some special.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, though, because a lot of fans that are like my age and younger, they are super focused on just solo Michael, so they kind of miss that part about the Jackson 5, the Jacksons. And I think it's really important that the biopic is going to cover this because the biopic is going to show people, wait, no, Michael was a megastar with his brothers, and then he even took it to a higher level, which you always have taught me about. Right. But a lot of people don't know that history.
Oh, no. He's definitely, the Jackson 5, was, be honest with you, at the time when they were doing their thing, be honest, it was just as top-notch as when Michael Jackson was doing his thing.
Yeah.
He was up there.
Yeah.
That Jackson 5 was up there just as much as Michael Jackson did his solo career. It just took it to level. Remember, it's a different era we into now. You got digital, you got albums, you got videos, you got this and that. But when the Jackson 5 was doing their thing, it was just top-notch the same way, with him being the lead singer and Jermaine. So they definitely had a career before Michael had his solo career. And you have to pay homage. I think in my heart that this movie that's coming out is going to pay homage to that era as well.
Yeah.
Because they do deserve that type of, I would say, homage in history. Because guess what? I don't think without the Jackson 5, there would be a Michael Jackson.
Of course.
True.
Be honest with ourselves. You got to pay homage because guess what? They helped him get to where he at. Because remember something, through experience of music, through different styles, through different challenges, through different hits.
Right.
It formed Michael to be who he is.
Exactly.
Because if you didn't have all that stuff that they was doing when they was coming up, Michael wouldn't be able to form who he is today.
Yes. And I 1,000% agree with that because people forget, like, he had a whole career before he had Off the Wall and all that. So
exactly.
That first career informed everything he did later
and
on.
Built him. He took it to another level.
Yeah.
He took all that, as they say, all those ingredients and came up with a new recipe.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so let's get It's true though. It's so true.
Let's be honest with ourselves. Like they tell you in a minute, man, everybody move forward for the shoulders of other people in the past.
Yeah.
I'm here because of the past. That doesn't change, right?
Right. And being at Motown too, with all that excellence around him, he got to
Oh
see
yes.
Temptations
Oh yes.
and
Oh yes. Oh yes.
and Stevie Wonder. Stevie
yeah.
Wonder was part of Motown?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, right?
Yeah. Everybody was part of that era.
Yes.
And he learned from all of them as a young kid. Remember, everybody was grown.
Right.
He learned from them of how to do a lot of things. But then again, like I said, man, I don't think we ever gonna see another person like him in our lifetime because that's a long history.
Yeah.
To learn the things he learned. You said the key word, that's very important. He learned from Motown, all those special stars. Mm-hmm. He learned a lot of stuff to help him out grow and be himself.
Definitely.
As a young kid. You
Yeah.
know? So that's special. And every now and then when I'm talking to you now, it brings back those memories to how I felt when I was thinking about Michael and looking at the Jackson 5, thinking about Motown, and looking at the whole era. And you feel good. You got to feel good. And like I said, it's something that you just can't forget.
Yeah.
Every time I think about it, when you talk, and I think about different eras, especially we were just talking about the movie, the little kid that's gonna play Michael. And now I think about Michael when he was singing "Stop the Love You Save Me, Be on Your Own." You know what I'm trying to say? A different "I Want You Back."
Yeah.
I think about that Michael. Now I'm looking at this kid doing Michael, and those things I remember because Michael was me and Michael was 2 years difference in age.
Right.
So I'm saying to myself, when I was in school as a young child, he's up there singing at the age of 7 years old and 6. I'm in school as a young child, and guess what? I'm saying to myself, like, wait a minute, I can't do that. I just look at it. And you want to hear something funny too?
Yeah.
Everybody back in them days wanted to be Michael Jackson, little Michael Jackson. Every step along the way.
Right.
Everybody wanted to be with the afro. Everybody wanted to be with the clothes. Everybody wanted to be with the dancing. everybody wanted to be Michael Jackson. I'm talking back in the 70s, from
Yeah.
69 to 70, 71, and it just kept going higher and higher and higher. And everybody that his age, like myself, and you look at the stages that he went through in his life, we all turn around and would like to emulate him. And then now you come along, and now you look at the Thriller and Bad and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You even know about the Jackson 5 era that we try to be like, and now all of a sudden we're looking at Billie Jean
Right.
with the silk socks.
Yeah.
So, you know, the glittering socks. So the point is, that's a long history. That's a long era and a long history, and it's special. You know, it's special.
Yes. And I know we said Jafar's got some big shoes to fill. I think he recognized that as well. And we're going to get into the next video where he kind of talks about trying to play this very, very special role. So let's check that out.
Okay.
You know, surrounded by music and obviously listening to Michael's music. Then fast forward years and years, I got a call from Graham King that he wanted to meet and discuss Michael, what he was working on at that time. And one conversation led to the other, and it ended up happening as I started working with the acting coach, and I didn't know anything about acting, and it was first really understanding what that is before even trying to dive into Michael. So I did that for about a year, and then I really honed in on what is Michael, the man behind all those classic songs that we hear that we're familiar with, and I was trying to discover the humanity in that first and foremost, and then really dissecting the moves and the mannerisms after that. But it was the longest process and the most challenging, but at the end of it, and I'm proud and honored to be surrounded by people that have that protection, that love, and that care for Michael and for everyone on the set, and that was felt every day.
So that is a part of a larger interview. It's about 18 minutes on the Fandango social media. So you can check that out on Fandango's YouTube channel. It's like an inside exclusive look where they talk to all the cast. But that was just a small clip of Jafar talking. And I love hearing that. What stood out to me was that he's not saying like my uncle, my uncle, my uncle. Like he's solidifying himself as an actor. You know what I mean? Like playing this role. And I kind of like that because I think that, you know, if he came out saying like, oh, my uncle, people wouldn't take this seriously, right? He put in a lot of work. And so he's kind of, you know.
Yeah, I think he's trying to separate the family thing and the uncle thing to being just an actor trying to play a part.
Right.
That's what I think he's trying to do, which is what he's doing actually.
Yeah.
He's trying to separate that family, uncle. I'm actually playing a part, so let's not get this misunderstood.
Right.
You think this will kick off an acting career for him?
You know what is so funny? It's funny you mentioned that because there was an interview that was done a few days ago with Jackie and Marlon Jackson, and they mentioned that he was in talks of doing a Tiger Woods biopic.
Wow.
It's a possibility because depending upon how this does, but I think also has a lot to do too with his acting ability, because if he pulls it off, besides just the dancing, just how he reads scripts and things, there's a possibility that he could get more roles.
Yeah.
'Cause remember something, this is going to be worldwide. So
Right.
everybody going to see this. So this is his chance to take it to another level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see not only like the acting, but also like we have mentioned a bunch of times, the dancing.
Right.
And in this next clip, we're going to watch Jafar talking about how he tried to master some of Michael's moves.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Right.
I knew how challenging this would be to take on playing Michael Jackson, and it was not easy. Definitely wasn't.
Every move matters. Every detail matters. You can't just go through a Michael Jackson move casually.
I met with Rich and Tone, who are Michael's choreographers, and we were wondering, can Jafar really do this? Can he really do the most iconic moves the world has seen?
Land like this.
Yeah. I'm always on the wrong side.
And Jafar said, just give me some time.
I love challenges, and I wanted to prove to myself, my family, and the filmmakers that I can do this.
That control of the weight shift, the smoother it's going to look.
I started to rehearse for hours and hours upon hours until one single move was right, dancing until my feet would bleed or them go numb. There's so many times I would wake up sore, be like, should I go rehearse? Should I just take a break and let the body relax? Then the other part of my mind would be like, no, what would Michael do?
Let's do it again.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah.
Jafar never stopped dancing. He was rehearsing all the way up to the moment we started filming.
It's natural. It's a flow. All together.
I remember looking in the mirror right before we going on stage. I had the full hair, makeup, and wardrobe, and I had a couple moments to myself just saying like, wow, I'm really here. There's no going back. It's time to go out there and put on the best show ever.
That is what I want the world to feel. Magic.
That's special. You know, the funny thing about it, I think what helps him out too, if you think about it, the music. You see, once you get into that music and you fall into the character, then all of a sudden you kind of feel the groove and the beat, and all of a sudden you have this inspiration to do good. The music alone makes you try to do the best you can, and that's why I think that helps him out too. And music, to me, music is something that really gets you to another level in your life and make you feel a certain way, and it brings out something that you didn't even have in you.
Right.
I'm glad sure that he sat down here and started to dance in ways that he tried to get into the groove.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this video and it looks pretty good. It looks as though he's serious about this.
I know.
You know? And you know you can't miss a beat because Michael was doing his thing. So everybody looking, if you miss a beat, we're gonna realize that you have
your fans gonna roast you on social media.
Exactly. So I know he said himself like, you know what? That's why I said that music has a lot to do with it come to his character. Talking about this Jafar. That
Jafar.
Jafar, right. When it comes to his character, he really got to fall into line with the music.
And that's a good point though, because if you think about it, like when there's a movie about someone's life and there's no original music, you're kind of like, When there's the original music in there, it does kind of make it more real.
You got to fall right in line with that music. And that beat, I say with that beat.
Yeah.
But you know, if you think about it, I'll be honest with you, that little clip I just saw, looked kind of good.
Looks good, right?
He looked like he's falling, he's grooving. Let's see how it come out,
Yeah.
But I know it's just something special to see, and it's funny thing about it. He may do his part. They just have to make sure that they tell the story a nice way where it keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And if they do it the right way, it could look like it could be a nice story.
One thing I noticed though, they were showing clips and they showed him in a darker shade early on and a bigger nose. They gave him a nose prosthetic, I guess.
Yes.
And then, later on, he lightened up. So they really did follow this story.
They did. And I think the fact that he's family too, like it almost gives them because he's family, they can have a little bit more leeway with doing that kind of makeup and stuff and making him go through those physical changes.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering how they're going to do that,
Well, remember, let's be for real. This is his life. His life, he did go through these stages.
Yeah.
Michael did go through the stages of changes facing his history. Again, I think he kept adjusting based upon the atmosphere of the world we live in. That's very special. That's how you keep yourself going higher and higher and higher. And he made the transition to try to cross over into, what you call it, to getting more clientele.
Mainstream.
Right, more mainstream, more clientele. And he did what he had to do to take himself to the next level. And it worked. And if you think about it, he didn't just do domestic, he went international.
Yeah. So true. So true. Yeah. And I'm so excited to hear how they're gonna express his desire to go international and stuff too. Because I know a lot of people that he probably looked up to, yes, they went international, but not in a global way like Michael Jackson did. He really became one of the most known names ever. And still is. Yeah,
well, you could tell if you look at what's going on when it comes to the British award shows and things like that. There, Mike was winning those awards. He's from America, but he was winning over there.
Yeah,
that's serious. That means over there have the same attention about Michael Jackson moves and his music. That's how he become international.
Yeah,
he did it. Japan, Britain, Europe, Russia, everywhere. He was all over.
Yeah,
you know that, and it's funny because if you think about the stars that come from Britain, and remember, you have a bunch of stars now, Beatles and all the people like that, and Adele and Queen and everybody. Again, they was big, but they wasn't over here in America. Remember, America sets the standards when it comes to music and different things, all worldwide. They could promote.
Well, Queen was pretty big.
No. I don't mean that way. I'm talking about Queen was really large, but I'm talking about when it comes to America. America is they produce music and movies and everything. Queen was over here as a concert.
Right.
But they weren't big like Michael was over there, where they came from.
Oh, I see.
Right,
That's what I'm trying to say, because no America could produce the music and put the money behind
Right. It's like
the entertainer.
Yeah.
Well, Queen was definitely. It's not just Queen. You're talking about Queen, all type of stars. Like I said, the Beatles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? A whole bunch of people on that world. AC/DC, everybody.
Yeah.
But guess what? Not in America though. They came over, have a concert, they left.
Right.
They got what you call hysteria for Michael over there.
Yeah.
Queen came over here. I don't want to bite the dust and things like that. That was big for disco and stuff like that there. But he went back home.
Right.
Michael stayed over there and over here.
Yeah. Also, it's interesting because Michael kind of for years has been an ambassador for the United States to a lot of parts of the world. People have said that they learn English from listening to Michael Jackson's music and stuff like that. So I feel like it's he's been that for a long time.
Yeah, and don't forget that's just when we was talking about Solomon at the very beginning. We was talking about Michael growth. He went to Africa to spread the love in Africa.
Yeah,
and like you see the spread the love with the Queen and other entertainers.
Yeah,
they did their thing, but Michael was kind of like, you know what? Let me bring the music, the magic over there. Let me bring the music, the magic to Russia. You know what I'm saying? All different countries, Japan. You know what I'm trying to say? He built a network of entertainment.
Right. Yeah.
To me, that's how I think, you know, and I remember he's global.
Yeah, I agree. And one more thing I want to mention is we did do an interview with Travis Payne, who was a longtime dancer and choreographer for Michael. And he said that one time they went to during the history tour, they went to a country where there was actually war going on, and the two opposite sides, they called a ceasefire, and they were all joined together at the Michael Jackson concert for that one night. I don't, you know,
that's global.
That's what what they said.
He come from over here. That's global.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, what we was talking about at the very beginning. He went through these stages on purpose, changed his style to continue to grow based upon the world we live in today. And that called for a lot of changes. That's why, like I say, he changed his look, he's changed his style. Even if you listen to his music, his music, I listen to his music even evolved into something the whole world listens to, beyond R&B, beyond pop. Now, if you listen to Michael music when it comes to the way you make me feel and things like that, listen to that music. Doesn't it sound more like Broadway?
No.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, all I noticed is it just always retained that high level of quality production.
Right, and that's the Broadway. When they had the Broadway plays, that's what I'm saying. He started things that sound as though the music you hear from him, songs, they're not just average songs anymore.
Right.
He had that, to me, that Broadway atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Like larger than life kind of.
Just another part of me.
Yeah.
Where you take it from?
Right.
That's not a regular song.
Right.
It has that band behind it, that music, the orchestra.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's another level to me.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when it comes to Michael. And that's how he captured so many people, so much audience.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? It seemed to me like that.
Yes. And also, I was going to say one more thing, and then we'll move on to the merchandise. But in this biopic, they're also going to be focusing on Beat It, which people that watch the channel know that's not my favorite song. However, Beat It was a big crossover hit for Michael. That's how he was able to incorporate rock and roll and a whole new genre of people to listen to, a sector of people to listen to his music, right?
Right,
Beat It
right,
as
right.
a crossover rock and roll hit.
Who's that? Solomon, who played the guitar? Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen.
Van Halen.
There you go.
Yes.
Right. I'm saying, again, crossover.
Yes.
I remember Eddie Van Halen was big when it comes to the music and the guitar. He had him do the intro. I read a story of him saying, man, if I only knew that song could be that big, I'd ask for some royalties.
Oh, right.
Because he was big himself.
Yeah.
So that was, again, Michael knows exactly what he was doing. He's tapping
very
this.
strategic.
Right. He's tapping this, he's tapping that. And that's how he become global.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do to make everybody a part of his music. And I tell you, that's a whole nother way of seeing things. You know? And that's what I'm trying to say. I look as though he did things to take yourself to another level.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
And I hope that they show all this in the movie. It looks like they're going to. So comment down below. Comment down below if you guys have any thoughts about that that discussion we just had about Michael and his growth and his success inside and outside the Jackson 5. Comment. We want you guys to be a part of the conversation. But before we move on, because we're going to talk also about some of the moments and experiences that my dad had during these things as they were happening live. But before that, I want to go into the merchandise for the movie. We'll bring up this next photo. And this is a photo of the merchandise that's going to be out at the different movie theaters. As you guys know, big thing right now, at least in America for sure. I don't know about worldwide. You guys comment below and chime in. Popcorn buckets. That's a big thing. They always have like these merchandise things now. If you go to any of the theaters, AMC, Harkins, Regal, they have popcorn buckets now. And the Michael one, the main one, is going to be a fedora hat. So it's going to be a hat.
Somebody better not be wearing that in front of me, though. You know, I mean, theaters now are more stadium style, but still.
You can't see. I know. That bothers me when I see people with the big hats on.
Yeah.
Like at those award shows. And the big hats on. I'm like, wait a minute. You're going to see in front of. Can you sit down, please? You're 100% right about that.
So they have the hat. And then they have a gold tin with like a vinyl on top. They got blankets. And they also have some cups with like diamonds or sequins or whatever on them. So the blanket is cool. I feel like that's a cute like merchandise thing to have. Might have to get that and drape that over the couch for a movie night at home even.
You know what I think? I think you get this stuff early because they're going to run out and then it's going to go up in value.
Oh.
I think.
That's actually good. Maybe we need to go scoop some scoop some merchandise up.
Yeah, a few of each.
Yeah. All right, you guys, don't listen to that. We're going to resell. No, I'm just kidding. No. But that's a good point because especially like the hat and stuff. I honestly was thinking that they're going to be more creative things. But if you are realistic about it, like, it's a popcorn bucket. It still has to function as a bucket. So I was thinking they would do a glove, but how much popcorn can you fit in a glove? Not much. So anyway, that's the merchandise. And then we'll go to the next photo. Then this is going to be the last thing we'll talk about the movie. This is a global fan event that they're having. Speaking of Michael being international, they're having a global fan celebration in Berlin, Germany on April 10th. Actually, since this moment, it's been announced that it'll be a whole weekend, the 10th through the 12th of fan activations and such. They've actually announced this on the Michael Jackson movie socials. So if you guys are in Germany, you can go ahead and check that out. But some people might want to travel internationally to go to that. So just keep a watch on all the social medias. And that is going to be all of the updates about the biopic. Now I want to go into some of the actual themes that are in the biopic. We're gonna hit 3 moments that are definitely to be touched on in the movie, according to the teasers. And I think it's cool to discuss today because my dad actually, like I said, has lived through these moments in real time. One of them is gonna be Motown 25. The next is gonna be the Victory Tour, and the next is gonna be the Bad Tour. So we'll just talk really quickly first about Motown 25, which is, for those of you that don't know, this is where Michael Jackson performed Billie Jean live for the first time in front of an audience, and it kind of took him to the stratosphere after that. So my question for you, Dad, is, did you watch Motown 25 live, or did you see it afterwards?
So live. Actually, I think everybody in pretty much most people that love Motown, it was a special event to watch it while it actually happened. And that was a special moment that everybody was shocked. As a matter of fact, that was the news of the day. The next morning, everybody was talking about, did you see that last night? Did you see that last night? And that's actually, but even my mother came to me and said that. Did you see what that guy Michael Jackson was doing on stage last night?
Wow.
So that was special, and I saw it live. And I'm going to tell you now, that was on everybody's conversation list the next day for a long time. And it wasn't just about Michael, it was because of Motown. You see, it made everybody look at it. And there you go again with Michael Genius. I'm going to take myself to another level so that I can promote myself for the next stage of my life. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. He was with his brothers. Then he said, okay, now this is the new music.
So he already had the audience that was tuning in because of the respect that Motown had.
Exactly. That's a matter of fact. And again, that's another promotional ploy that he had to take him to another level, and it worked.
Yeah.
This took him to the stratosphere, by the way, because people got to see him as a solo artist, and also got to see everybody around him that was supposed to have been great.
Yeah.
And guess what? Who overshined everybody again as an artist? Remember, Motown was great in itself.
Right.
And all of a sudden, when everybody left there, as great as Marvin Gaye was, Stevie Wonder, Dinah Ross, even El Jabbar, the new guys that was coming out, everybody left with talking about what Michael did.
Wow.
You know, that's another shocker.
Yeah.
You know, he always rises to another level on top of the greatest.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And that's what make you special and unique and make you, quote unquote, the best.
And now I want to ask you too, because I remember growing up, I obviously, I was born in the late 80s, but I got to know Michael in the 90s. And there was a DVD compilation of some videos. And I was asking him, like, why would they put Motown 25 on here, Billie Jean? Like, what's the big deal about this? And you were like, that's where he first did the moonwalk. Are you serious? Like, because you were like, wait, you don't know about that? Because I did not know that it was such a big deal. So tell us about the moonwalk. That was the first time he did it live, right?
Yeah. Again, but remember something though. Oh, he just did the moonwalk the first time for everybody. But if you go back years ago, the moonwalk existed on Soul Train. That's why I said Michael take pieces of his history and learned from other people and took it to another level. So you can't pull us off if you wasn't Michael.
Right.
But you can pull us off with the music, the sound, the history, the entertainment, and also you have to be able to back yourself up and do it the right way. He applied that to his own character.
Right.
Most people doing the moonwalk, it's a done deal and it's over.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that many people. Pretty much, I think somebody from Soul Train, from Shalimar. Shalimar was a guy who...
Jeffrey Daniels.
Right. Somebody that turned around and he did the moonwalk on the Soul Train. And guess what? It stopped there.
Right.
And he does it all the time because they used to do that in Soul Train. But again, remember, that was the era that we lived in, and that was part of Soul Train. They did dances, they did the bop, they did the flop and all that stuff like that there. But Michael turned around and added that to his repertoire. And that took it to another level because, remember, a lot of people didn't know about that.
Right.
They didn't see Soul Train.
Right.
They just saw him do it live with Billie Jean.
Yes, because he's bringing it now to the world stage.
Right, but...
And yeah, that I like that point that you made that, you know, Michael is able to take like different elements of things that he sees and kind of make it into his own signature.
And if you think about what he did too, he turned around and put, you see the sequence with the socks, with the moonwalk on that? Remember, he had a costume.
Yeah.
But the first person just did it as the dance.
Right.
He put a costume to it, his voice, his entertainment, and his music.
Yeah.
You put it all together, now you have a product.
Yeah.
Whole different level.
Yeah. And I've heard Jeffrey Daniel talk about teaching Michael the moonwalk and a couple of other people coming in and working with him to learn that. And yeah, it's interesting because I never knew growing up in the 90s, seeing him do the moonwalk a bunch of times, that Motown 25's moonwalk was iconic. Was it iconic at the moment, or did that come later as you guys saw, like, oh, wait, now more people got to know Michael Jackson? Or was it iconic when you first saw it?
The moonwalk?
Yeah.
With Michael Jackson?
With Michael Jackson at that moment.
Well, no. At that moment, what was iconic was after you saw Motown, after you saw the Jackson 5, when you seen Billie Jean, remember, Billie Jean was also #1 record at the time coming up.
Okay.
Then all of a sudden, because remember, he didn't do the moonwalk in the video that everybody's watching. He was watching him walk through the plaques and the lights light up in Billie Jean video.
Yeah.
Now you look at him do Billie Jean live. So when he did Billie Jean live, he added the moonwalk and he added a routine and he got up on his feet and all that. And guess what? That was special for that song, and he introduced the world to Billie Jean with the moonwalk.
Yeah, okay.
You put all that together, then you say to yourself, wait a minute, look at this. And that's where the excitement came in. Remember, his whole thing was about excitement.
Right.
Michael's always want to create the magic and excitement at that moment with the music.
And it was about the whole package, I guess, like kind of what you're trying to say.
Right.
Cool. Okay. So I want to get into the next topic, which is going to be the Victory Tour. And that is a tour that you saw live, right?
Yes. Yep.
So let me just bring you back. Let's watch a video jog your memory about the Victory Tour.
Right.
Wanna be starting something, you got to be starting something. I say wanna be starting something, you got to be starting something.
All right.
I know, we're just about to get into it.
All right.
I know, exciting as you say. Like the Victory Tour was actually was a byproduct, I guess they would say, of Motown 25 when people saw all the brothers back together on stage. Remember, all 6 of them were on stage, and then they had this idea to now do the Victory Tour and to capitalize on the moment with the Thriller album. And so that's going to be a big part of the biopic. They're going to be showing how the Victory Tour was supposed to be this big, massive tour, and it was, right, of all 6 brothers coming together for the first time after they had broken up, after Motown, whatever. So talk to us about the Victory Tour. What do you remember about the Victory Tour? Like, what stands out to you in your mind about the tour?
Well, at the time, you're right. The Victory Tour was considered one of the most anticipated tours that everybody in the United States was looking forward to, because that's when all the brothers was going to get together for the first time in a long time. They had the little reunion with the Motown 25. But then when they sat back and after that happened, it was an excitement about seeing the Jackson 5 get together with Michael and Jermaine.
Yes.
And they said, you know what, let's try to do a tour together. And I think Michael also, in his mind, I think, if I remember correctly during those times, the thought was for Michael to get together and do a tour to help his brothers out. You gotta remember something, his brothers wasn't doing too much them days. Jermaine was doing his own thing. The balance of the Jackson 5 brothers, they wasn't doing too much. But Mike was still constantly doing pieces of moving up the ladder when it comes to his solo career.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden they were saying, Michael, you know, now that you blowing up, but don't you think you should try to do something for the family? And that's where that came up when it come to he was doing something for his brothers. Because really I heard at the time, I remember correctly, his brothers wasn't doing that great because they wasn't doing music no more. Because Michael doing his own thing, Jermaine tried to do what he could do, he fell off a little bit. And the brothers, they was just background singers at the time. So Michael actually, if I remember correctly, I'm not too sure, if I'm thinking correctly, the father was saying, you have to get this together for the brothers and the family. Don't take yourself and forget where you came from. I remember hearing that as a person when younger back in them days. So he agreed to that. And that's where the Victory Tour came together. And again, it had a lot to do with Michael trying to say, I'll try to do a little something for where I came from.
Right.
The Victory Tour. And it was also considered victory because the brothers got together and said, we came from here and we're here today. And that's what that, to me, I remember that.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because honestly, when this teaser and the trailer came out and I saw that the Victory Tour was going to be like a main focus, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, why? Even though I've been a fan for a long time, but I was not there at that moment living through, you know, seeing this growth of Michael and the kind of the separation between him and the Jacksons' career. So it makes sense that this is going to be such a big focal point in the movie because as you said, this is really like the culmination, the victory of them all being all together. And then he has his launching pad and then he goes off and
think about it. If you think about it, if you think about Michael is gone now. And so it's almost like saying the brothers are trying to put together the pieces of his life and their life. And Victory Tour pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
Before and after. Now remember, you said it stops around the Bad Tour?
Bad Tour, yeah.
Okay, so now after that, everybody remember Michael now. But those before Michael, I'm not too sure 100% what the movie going to show, but there was a life way before what you know.
Right.
And I'm saying to you, maybe they're going to promote that and show that in theaters. But Victory is big. And I mean, when I say big, they talked about Victory Tour being big because at the time, you know, you had, what they say, the Beatles and a lot of entertainers, Bruce Springsteen, they was large when it come to concerts. But this Victory Tour was considered bigger than everybody.
Yeah.
Because to see the 6 Jacksons come together and everybody come together to do this tour, it was known that this was going to be massive.
Yeah.
Over everybody. The biggest tour ever they was trying to promote it. Matter of fact, what they did is they used Don King. At the time, Don King, let me tell you something. The reason they used Don King, which didn't sit too well with Michael Jackson, they used Don King because Don King was promoting boxing. Don King was a famous promoter for boxing. He did Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, all the big boxing matches.
Yeah.
He was the promoter. He was the big part. So what they did, the father asked Don King, yo, can you promote this for us? It worked out and he started doing it, but guess who it didn't sit too well with?
Michael.
Didn't sit too well with Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson said, this guy has problems. He turns around and he had a history when it comes to the criminal law.
Yeah.
He had a problem, and he had a problem when it comes to money issues. And the boxers were saying that he wasn't doing right with the money.
Mike Tyson, right?
Right. A lot of people saying he wasn't doing too good when it come to their money and treating them correctly. So Michael Jackson was saying, I don't want him part of this because he's going to ruin us. He's going to take away from what we're trying to build. So Michael Jackson said, I don't want, and he was a Jehovah's Witness at the time, and they were saying, this guy's not too above water. So Mike said, no, I don't want this. I don't want him in there. So Michael flipped around and got another promoter, right? But the father's the one that was trying to use Don King.
Interesting.
Because the father tried to use Don King because Don King, I'm going to say it again, make no mistake about it, he was heavy into boxing.
Yeah.
He did the biggest fights out there.
Right.
He was good, but he had a criminal record.
Yeah.
Michael didn't like that.
Right.
He had a little time.
And they had the ticket issue too, right? Like where the ticketing people were mad about having to do the money orders and pay all that money to even get tickets. You had to buy 4 tickets.
You had to buy 4 tickets. And plus, it was cash. They didn't want nobody to turn around and charge. They wanted to be money order.
Yeah.
See, that didn't sit too well with people because then on top, you didn't even know if you was going to, at the time, you didn't even know if you were going to get a seat.
Right.
They would send it back to you and let you know you got these seats. And everybody said, well, how are we going to get our money back if we don't get the seats?
Yeah.
Where did the money go and where the pool of money sitting at? So there was a lot of controversy in there, and Michael didn't appreciate that. He sat down here and said, you know what? I'm not doing this. He said, I'm not going to do this. I don't want no parts of this if he's part of it.
Right.
And him and his father was bumping heads with that. His father was saying, I want it. And Michael saying, well, I'm not doing this. And then in the end, the father gave in and let him use another promoter.
Right.
That was above water. And again, not that Don King couldn't do it, but Michael just didn't want that controversy behind his name.
Yeah.
Because he was, remember, don't forget now, Michael's trying to go another level.
Right.
See, that adds negativity to his name.
Yeah.
If you promote the Don King, it's going to add negativity to Michael's name. So Michael said, you know what, I want this to be pure and innocent. And again, and it's not that I need the money. Don't forget, he also dedicated his money to charity.
Yeah.
So he letting you know, I'm trying to do this for my brothers.
Right.
I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay.
Right.
He said, I don't want to turn around here and be a part of this. Matter of fact, to clear his name, he donated his money of the tour.
I remember that.
Right. So that goes to show you, think about it, that goes to show you that it wasn't so much about him. It was about trying to do something for his father. I remember his father saying, don't forget where you came from.
Right. Well, that is going to be a big part of this movie. Now that you told me the real story, I'm like, let me see what the biopic is going to show. I'm excited to see it now on screen.
I don't know if they're going to tell all that. But we'll see what comes out of this. But,
I know, but still, it brings a level of context to the Victory Tour that I never really knew, background information that I never knew. So, but I can tell that they're going to really show, kind of what you talked about. Because in the first teaser trailer, there's a part where Jafar is saying like, oh, I have to think about this, talking about the Victory Tour. Mm-hmm. And then Joseph's like, I already told you what to think. Like, you're doing this tour kind of thing. They're going to really show the part of the real story. So we'll see.
Because, they sometimes it's hard to tell the truth. You got to keep it happy.
Yeah, and entertaining, right? So, all right. Now, another thing they're going to show, which I think is really going to be like probably the end of the movie, if I had to guess, the Bad Tour. Because they're going to stop at the Bad era. You saw the Bad Tour live as well, right?
Yeah.
Anything that stuck out to you about that show different than the Victory Tour, the Triumph Tour, when you saw him with his brothers?
Well, this time, I don't think he was with his brothers, the Bad Tour.
Right, yeah.
Right, so that's the difference right there. His brother's not there. Now he had to fill in with new entertainers and dancers and sing songs of the past and take it to another level and keep it exciting, and it was about Michael.
Right.
Not the past. But, I mean, he gave moments of the history of the Jackson 5 with the other people that was behind him. Mm-hmm. But again, there is a big difference between the Victory and the Bad Tour. The Bad Tour encompasses all of Michael's new success. Yeah. And all about Michael. And all about the era that you know. The Victory was all about Michael, Billie Jean level and the other way. With the Jacksons. If I remember, didn't also Jermaine Jackson and Michael Jackson sang together, because Jermaine had just put out his album.
Yes.
Tell Me That I'm Dreaming album.
Tell Me I'm Not Dreaming.
Tell Me I'm Not Dreaming album, where the two came together for the first time in a long time on that Victory Tour. And it gave Jermaine the opportunity to sing his songs on the stage with his brothers and also solo. But the thing about it, if you notice that when Jermaine never sang with Michael for a long time after he left Motown. Jermaine was trying to do his thing and he did his career solo, but then all of a sudden they came together Tell Me That I'm Dreaming. Notice how good that sound?
Yes.
The two came back together after all those years, and listen how it sounded. The music, the voice, the duet, those two to me was creating magic that you never hear, and ever since they did the Jackson 5. And I kind of put it in the same class of, like, what's the name? The Righteous Brothers, you got that feeling? The two guys together saying good music, or Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, like A Bridge Over Troubled Water, or Sam and Dave. You see two guys singing come together and something special. Michael Jackson and Jermaine Jackson, during the Victory Tour, came together from the history of the 25 years of them singing.
Yeah.
Them two made Jackson 5 special. And unfortunately, Jermaine left that team.
Yeah.
And guess what? He didn't do as well as Michael, but the two together, Tell Me That a Dream, it shows you the difference when you put it back together.
That's so true.
See the difference? If they stayed together, imagine where they'd been today.
I know. And I remember you first letting me hear that song because I never knew about it. And you let me hear it and I was like, wow, I love this song. And I still play the record today.
It's bad.
It's so good. It's
because it depends on the singer, the music, and the character. Jermaine and Michael together, I'm going to say it again, when you got the right team together, you get the right music and you get the right production.
Yes.
Those two, again, Jermaine didn't do nothing with Michael all them years. As soon as he did Tell Me That I'm Dreaming, look how it sounded.
Yeah.
Got that excitement, right?
So good. And if you guys don't know this song, definitely check it out because there's a lot of people here that might have been hearing about this song for the first time. So listen to Tell Me I'm Not Dreaming. It's an amazing song. This has been such a fun episode. We have to do a lightning round though, Daddy. I want to tell people we got to do a lightning round. This is where I'm going to ask some quick questions. We both answer with our quick answers. And then we'll wrap it up by just talking about our last thoughts on this biopic. Does that sound good?
Okay.
All right. So lightning round time. All right. Ready? What is the first Michael Jackson song you ever remember hearing?
First Michael Jackson song I heard, remember back in the 70s, I was a young kid. I think the one I remember most, even though I Want You Back came out, it Stop the Love You Save Me Beyond. Because that was like powerful because the brothers all dancing. And they had it was just special. That song was throughout the streets and everything, and everybody cars, and I was really it was exciting. Stop the Love You Save Me Beyond.
Okay.
And he had that voice that was special.
For me, I don't know the exact first Michael song, but I remember the first moment that I realized he was a solo artist that I really liked his music was Human Nature. Mm-hmm. That was one of the first songs, and I remember asking you, Dad, what is that song where Michael keeps saying the word why? Why?
Why?
Tell him that it's human nature. And you told me, and I was like, and then you made me some CDs of his solo hits. Because back then, I was only listening to the Jacksons.
Right.
Remember that? Right. Okay, so favorite Michael Jackson song of all time? Even if you have to say 2 or 3, that's fine. Favorite songs of all time?
Can You Feel It? Solomon.
Shout out Solomon. Shout out Solomon.
Can You Feel It? I'll tell you that. You know why I say Can You Feel It? Because Can You Feel It was almost like it was made for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Can you feel it? He talking about the music, the beat, the soul, everything, and you feel it today. If you hear that song, even if it come on the radio, it started dun 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 dun, and the only one could pull that off was the Jacksons. That's a history,
right?
And you still feel it. I mean, like you said, man, that's one of my favorites. You don't misunderstand. You got Billy G. He got a lot of great songs.
Yeah.
But that Can You Feel It to me, you know, I don't know. It's special. It's special. It's special.
Okay. So I'm going to say for my favorite song, it's a tie between 2. I like Human Nature just because that's like the first moment that I realized like, oh, I really like Michael Jackson. Like, I think I could learn a lot about him. And, you know, as a solo artist, he stood out to me when I heard that song. That and Remember the Time. I love Remember the Time.
Time was serious.
And the New Jack Swing with Teddy Riley. Like,
yeah. You know, Remember the Time was so serious. I tell you why. Because when Michael did, I think it was Billie Jean first, and then all of a sudden they were saying, you have to back up that album with something serious. And everybody's saying, well, how can you do this? And it's almost going to be impossible for you to be able to come up with something that's going to create that same excitement.
Right. After Thriller and Bad.
Right.
Yes.
And guess what? When he came up with Remember the Time, it's like saying, oh, how did he do that? Remember the Time. And everybody fell in line with the excitement and the creativity. And sure enough, it took him to another level again when it comes to, you didn't expect. You say, so that's impossible to turn around here and be able to follow up those two with another good song.
Yeah.
Sure enough, Remember the Time took you right there at that level. You know what I'm trying to say?
So good, yes. And it still sounds so great today. They play it at parties, on radio, barbecues. weddings. It's such a great song.
You know, it's funny you mentioned human nature. You know, that's why I say when Michael turned around and he go worldwide. I don't know if you remember the group called Toto.
Yes.
Human Nature.
Yeah.
I think Toto kind of wrote the song Human Nature.
Yeah, yeah.
And Toto won a Grammy for their song. But the point I'm making is that he grabs all type of elements and put it, but don't forget, you put the elements together, but you still have to perform it and make it work.
Yeah.
And that song Human Nature, Toto had their hit.
That makes sense.
And guess what? That's why I say he was special. He did his thing. He took things to another level. And he put all, like I said, put all the recipes together to come up with different ingredients to come up with his own recipe. And only people could pull that off is somebody special.
So
you know
true.
So special, man. You know, and I'm gonna tell you now, you're not gonna see that too often. Matter of fact, if you think about it, what's his name did the same thing coming up, and it made him special. Quiet as kept, Elvis did the same thing. He saw a lot of people out there. He loved their music, but guess what? He put it into his own style, and it worked for him. You know what I'm saying? That's why he would go back to soul and jazz and blues. And guess what? He came, but he was able to pull it off because he was Elvis.
Right.
He had the look, had the dance, had the style, had the voice. But same thing, Michael. Michael turned around but one thing I must admit about Michael, the difference between Michael is when it comes to him, remember how we talked about the moonwalk?
Yeah.
Michael didn't have to copy. Michael had to spin. He had the wop wop with the brothers. They had their own dance.
Yeah.
And so Michael did his own thing, but guess what though? It's like paying homage.
Right.
But he had his own specialty.
He was definitely a true entertainer, and definitely people that are listening should check out the other episode that we did over video conference when we talked about Michael's influences. We talked about Sammy Davis Jr., James Brown, and Jackie Wilson.
Right.
So that you mentioned some really good points there. I will link that down below. 3 more lightning round questions. Favorite Jackson 5 song?
Favorite Jackson 5 song?
Yeah, well, you kind of mentioned.
But can you feel it?
Yeah, you can't. Jackson's. Okay, so favorite music video? Michael Jackson.
Music video? Favorite Michael Jackson music video? I guess I could say Remember the Time. I like Remember the Time. You know that? Remember the Time was special.
That is a good one.
You know that? With the dancing, a lot of stuff like that. And again, I must admit, you said I can ring too. I must admit, Thriller was special too.
Yes.
Because he had all those people in the background dancing, zombies.
Yeah.
That was special too. And if you notice all the dancing that he did, if you notice that everybody that's doing dancing today, they all kind of follow that script.
That's so true.
Remember the Time and Thriller.
Okay. I'm going to also say Thriller. And also I'm going to say that for me, I just think that, like you said, it's iconic. And you watch it, and every time I watch it, I notice something new. You know, it just got a lot of different elements to it. And shout out to Ola Ray, who was also here in studio not too long ago, last Halloween.
Right. Yeah, right.
So that was really special from watch. And then that was also one of the first videos that you, we had the VHS in the house, like the making of Thriller. So that was one of the first in-depth videos I was able to watch about Michael Jackson. So that's why that stands out to me too. Okay. Lastly, the biopic is coming up. We're all excited about it in a few weeks, you guys. I think it would be cool to end this by just talking about what we think the next generation, because I think it's clear from what we're seeing that the movie is going to be for a generation that really doesn't know Michael's history or his story too much, or where he came from and that whole thing. So what do we want people to take away from Michael Jackson and his story? Like, what do you want the next generation to know that made Michael Jackson special?
Well, you know, I think that first thing is to give you credit for keeping his music and his inspiration alive by just doing what you're doing. It's important because, like you said, so much stuff going on in the world today, entertainment-wise. I think that the world today, when it comes to entertainment, they're forgetting a little bit of the history of what got them where they are today. And believe me, it took a lot of work to get to this level for Michael. It took him 40 years to be who he is today. Yeah. Everybody get a hit song and all of a sudden they rich. It's over. They done.
Right.
They out. And that's the problem because they don't really, they say hone their craft. And like I said, Michael did a lot of work to get the way he is today. It's not that simple. You know what I mean? And I think what I would tell the world to try to take away from what Michael Jackson is, look at his work ethics, because you only have a short amount of time to get this stuff done. And you really need to concentrate on bringing out the best of yourself to the world because you're special. Yeah. If you're at that level. A lot of guys who have hit songs, they special, but they do one or two and they got that money and the millions and they gone. History shows you that Elvis, Michael, Sammy, all those greats, they studied. They did the best they can to the end.
Yeah.
And it was all about the music. You know what I'm saying? Barry, Teddy, Stevie, is all about the music. Temptations, it was all about the music. Smokey Robinson singing today. He came out in the 60s.
Right.
This
yeah.
is 2026.
It's true.
And he's still giving concerts because he's 87 years old.
Yeah.
Because he cared about the music. And remember something, if you have a subject that you care about and you kind of focus on it and you stay focused, they're gonna get the best. And that's what Michael brought out of everybody.
That's
the best. And it doesn't change. I don't care what anybody say. You can sit down here and you put all the greatest together. He was special. And I don't think you're going to see too many people like him that's going to get to this next level. It's hard to do it because you know what it is? There's a difference between how many people doing things. How can you recreate the wheel?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He did it all.
Right.
It's hard. If you look at all these concerts, all these actors now and all these entertainers, they're doing everything Michael did already.
Yeah, it's true.
It's very hard to recreate.
Yeah, a trendsetter in every sense of the word.
And don't forget, you're talking entertainment. He had the voice, he had the look, and he had the music.
Yeah.
And don't forget, he also had the brain.
Right. That's true.
To put it all together.
And that's another thing I hope they show in the biopic, right? Like the thought, the strategic element behind like his career, because there was a lot of strategy behind it.
Every step along the way.
Yeah.
Every step along, he strategically did things to take him to another level. And it's unfortunate because, like you said, they talk about the ups and downs. Everybody have ups and downs. Yeah. Everybody have negative vibes. Everybody have positive. But the reality is nothing's perfect. Right. But you know what, though? As far as perfection is concerned, he perfected the entertainment world and for 30, 40 years straight.
Yeah.
And you know how much work that is? All that hustling he was doing? Like, I went to see his concert, and you talking about somebody that was like Jane Brown. They was working hard on the stage. I mean, when I say hard, spinning, dancing, singing, sweating, 2 hours at a time, that's work. And imagine going to state to state, city to city, nonstop. That's how you stay in shape, and that's a lot of work to give the public. And he wasn't just standing up on stage singing.
Yeah.
He was performing.
Right. Every night.
And the Jackson 5 together, they was performing 25 years before he even got to this level he was at.
Yeah.
Think about that one.
So many good points there. And I just think that, this is going to be something that a lot of people that didn't know about they're going to learn from this biopic, hopefully from episodes like this that we do. And yeah, I think it couldn't have been said any better. I think you really summed it up. That is the main message about Michael Jackson. And for me, like the overall message of what he wanted to bring to the world, bringing people together country to country, that was super special. That's how I've met a lot of people in my life. So I really appreciate Michael Jackson for creating that sense of community around the world. So everybody, go see the Michael Jackson biopic, Michael. It comes out April 24th here in the United States. It might come out a little earlier worldwide. So you go and check that out. Get your early access tickets. I'll link the links that I can down below. I'll link the other episodes that we've done together so that people can hear other conversations that we've had. Definitely make sure that you continue to follow the show. We are on YouTube, almost at 50K subscribers. Now, I have been saying that for like a year now. You guys, you got to get me to 50K. And I think it's going to happen right after this movie. If you're tuning in because you just saw the Michael Jackson movie and you want to learn more about Michael Jackson, watch the MJFANGIRL YouTube channel. You can also check us out on podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. And until the next time, Dad, thank you so much for being here in studio, in person. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to thank you too for keeping Michael music and his spirit alive, because like I said, a lot of people forget. And like I said, even myself, I've been watching him for 40 years. And I haven't forgotten. You notice if you mention something to me, bring back memories right away. And for you, the next generation, to still think about this man is special. And we need to give you homage for just doing that for him. Because I'll tell you, he did a lot of hard work to get where he's at.
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect, but the reality is special. Some people are just not as special as he was. He's special. I don't think you're going to ever see nothing like that again. No time soon.
I totally agree. And I got to thank you for introducing me to Michael Jackson, because without you telling me about Michael Jackson, I wouldn't know who he is or appreciate him.
Yep. So,
yes, I'm carrying the torch on.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you for the invite. Appreciate everything.
Yes. And we will talk to you next time. We'll get back. I'm pretty sure that the next live video that I'll be doing, we'll be talking all about the movie. You guys, we're finally here. We've been talking about this for like 2 or 3 years. We're finally here. Jafar, we're rooting for you. Can't wait to see the film. And until the next time, we'll see you guys all later. Bye.